everyone, and welcome to my presentation about Workday Peakon Employee Voice. My name is Kinga Strzebońska, and I'm functional consultant here at Tieto Ebri, and I'm certified with Workday HCM Core and Peakon. Before we start, some practical informations. If you have any questions during the session, please feel free to ask them on the chat. And if anything will be left non-answered, you will receive the answers via email. Also, this session is being recorded, and you should have received the handouts beforehand. Here is the safe harbor statement to remind that this presentation may contain forward-looking statements. So any purchase decision should be made upon services that are currently available. So let's start with the topic. My presentation will be slightly different from the others, as Peakon is a standalone product and new feature releases are independent from official Workday releases. However, we would like you to get to know more about Peakon, as currently we, as Tieto Ebri, are in the process of deploying Peakon for our company. After a great discussion with representatives of our HR technology team that are involved into deployment, I'm gonna share with you the answer to two questions: why Peakon is a good choice and how to prepare to implement Peakon from our perspective as a customer implementing this product. So for those who are not yet familiar with Peakon, this is a continuous listening platform that is collecting employees' feedback and turning it into the meaningful insights that are helping increase employees' engagement. By using intelligent listening technology, sentimental analysis, and natural language processing, Peakon is providing leaders and managers with a way to improve the overall performance, to improve productivity, employees' engagement, and to help organizations achieve the transformation success. Peakon is using standardized methodology to measure three important concepts, which are employee engagement, diversity and inclusion, and health and well-being. Active engagement strategy in Peakon is based on three main components. First of all, it's intelligent listening, which is helping to reveal the hidden truth with using confidential two-way conversations that are promoting open and honest feedback. It's about asking the right question to the right person at the right time to allow surfacing the real state of employees' engagement and their diversity, their inclusion, and well-being. Intelligent listening is also helping to deliver recommended actions for managers and additional trainings that are based on the current employee and company needs, which are again leading to increase the employee experience and the productivity. Total activation means engaging every employee and empower them to be a part of the change. It's supporting managers' decision-making process with actions based on current team priorities. It's improving the trust and collaboration between managers and their employees, and showing them that every person can be a part of the change and can being engaged can have a real impact of the changes in the company. And execution analytics is about linking engagement to the business needs. Peakon is using attrition prediction and employee lifecycle metrics to understand the reason behind the feedback. It is using advanced natural language processing that is analyzing the employees' comments, that is generating insights related to sentiment and the trending topics within the company. Because of this kind of analytics, it's then possible to gain insight across multiple channels of feedback to see what really matters to people, and based on that, to create relevant action plans. To support and achieve those elements, Peakon is using also three important steps or features that are really making the purpose being achieved. So first of all, it's reliable data. Those are evidence-based questions, which has proven benefits based on, for example, other service and companies. It's also reliable external benchmarks that are showing what good looks like in overall sector or industry. It's giving also the immediate access to the results, and question sampling is making surveys shorter and more effective for employees. Also, to help achieve this activation that I mentioned, the most important thing is empowering managers here. They are no longer relying on HRs for reports and analysis of the surveys that are handled within company. They have immediate access to all the data at their manager dashboard. They have highlighted segments and priorities, as well as the improved tab containing a lot of potential actions and micro courses and additional resources for them to review. Also, there are actionable insights which are providing feedback that managers or leader can actually use for actions. The question design is solution focused, so which means that based on the question, we can have the overview of real employee needs and their real feelings. I said multiple times about employee engagement. But what actually is the engagement, and why is that important in the companies? As per the psychological definition, it is the time when we apply our full selves at work, and when we express ourselves through behavior that promote connections to work and to others, personal presence, and active full role performances. In other words, it's employee satisfaction. It's when they are feeling fully committed to work to the company. It's their relationship with organization and colleagues. For employees, especially nowadays, it is really becoming very important to be able to voice their opinions, to show their concerns, and they want to be heard. They want to be able to monitor how their feedback is being understood and how it is impacting the actions of the management and of the company. And now there are multiple things that are driving an engagement for employees. It's the possibility to feel accomplished and rewarded, receiving recognition, as well as have a freedom of opinions, possibility of growth, or really receiving a meaningful job and have a possibility to goal setting, for example. So the higher employees are engaged, the turnover is reduced, and there is increased effort of the employees to contribute to the company. There is higher productivity and innovation, which results in improved customer outcomes. In other words, like to sum up, it's like greater satisfaction of employees, it's making employees happier, and this is increasing well-being of the whole company. So based on that, why Peakon is that good feature to use? I think that each of us had an opportunity during our work history to experience one of the key challenges of service from different perspective. Large and complex service are, for example, taking a lot of time to proceed. it requires reporting, analyzing all the data, summing it up to different groups, for example, and then providing managers with the results, with the feedback. Also, for employees, longer surveys are sometimes boring, sometimes frustrating if employees overloaded and it's stress at work and have to respond to 30 questions asking about the well-being and overall satisfaction. Sometimes it can be frustrating. And most of organizations have already realized the business value of diversity, equality, and inclusion in the workplace. But they sometimes struggle with turning the positive intentions to actual outcome and to recognizing from the service what really is needed to make employee happier and more engaged. And Peakon, on the other hand, is processing employees' feedback to totally different level. It is making it all easier for both employees and also the HRs and leaders, managers. Let me show you some examples that were highlighted by our HR team, so from client's perspective. And before I start going through this, please note that all upcoming print screens are based on Peakon demo instance for Imaginative Company, GMS or Kinetar, so it does not include real data. So first, let's start with managers. On the slide, you can see general view of managers' engagement dashboard. On their dashboards, they can see the results of their team, or level up managers have access to all the teams below, where they are able to see the current status of results of employee satisfaction and so on. They can have an insight to the team's result within different categories. As you can see, here is the engagement. Also, you can switch to diversity and inclusion. You can switch to health and well-being and analyze those results separately. Also, here you can see not only the result, you can see the promoters, employees that are overly satisfied with the company, detractors, who are employees most likely to leave the company in the shorter period of time. You can see the benchmark comparing to the other companies' results, and also participation to monitor how many employees actually taken part in the survey. Based on the results on the dashboard, there are more information for managers. Sorry, they have an access to improvement part, which is showing them priorities. Priorities are like groups that are significantly less engaged than the organization as a whole, as well as they can see strengths, which are highly engaged groups with best practice management, which are good to review and learn from them. Based on that suggestions, managers, as you can see, have an option to set something as a priority, to reject suggestion, to check why this action, for example, is suggested. They also can create the actions based on that suggestions and use dedicated micro-learning courses that will help them make further steps and improve. To make the priorities clear, Workday is highlighting only the segments that have significant difference to the benchmarks. So both the top and the bottom segments are selected and then set as the priorities based on the difference to benchmark and segment size, to just show the most impact for the company, for example. The thing that I mentioned already is also benchmarking, which is a very interesting feature, as it is comparing the question or specific driver's result to the similar industry sector. And this is allowing us to have a real overview of the results in our team, in our company. For example, in some specific driver, the different responses can be presented in the company that is mostly working from home, for example, or that is working in very stressful sector, for example, than in the company that is overly working in the office and so on. So to have a real comparison, we are using true benchmark, which is adjusting the results, taking also into consideration not only the sector and the industry, it's also taking into consideration all attributes like demographics, like size of the company, like the things that I mentioned, how people are working, were there any bigger changes recently, and so on. So this is giving a real overview of the overall result. Very important thing is also the comments, and this is, I think, most important thing for employees. Because Peakon, by using natural language processing, is analyzing employee comments, group them into topics, and identify and highlight the important themes. For example, it extracts real meaning behind the comments. So, for example, if there are some sensitive words or potentially harmful in the comment, this comment is immediately highlighted to the manager for them to be able to react quickly and take the action on the potentially sensitive comment. Also, manager can not only see the comment made during the answering the survey, they can also react to the comment, acknowledge them, show employee that he really read this and probably will take an action on this. Also, there is a possibility to start a conversation between employee and manager that will allow to dig deeper into the topic and take potential further actions. Another thing that I would like to mention, it's questions algorithm. I mentioned before about too long surveys that are with the time when the questions are similar and they are not bringing anything new for employees. They are starting to sometimes answer very automatically to the questions just to have it completed. And Peakon is using question algorithm to increase employees' experience and maximize data point collection. It means that if company selects, for example, 20 or 30 questions that should be asked to employee in each survey round, it doesn't mean that each employee will receive those 30 questions to answer. The algorithm will mix the questions in the way that different employees will answer different questions in the round, but on that participation level to achieve reliable results for managers. So it's making the survey more user-friendly and taking a bit less time. It's worth mentioning also the way that data are analyzed in Peakon because it's automatic, so it's time-saving for HRs and it's allowing different types of data analysis. We can receive different reports that or visuals that can be exported and then used, for example, in business presentations or team meetings to discuss the results. Also, we have full flexibility. We can launch as many surveys as we want for different sectors of the company with different schedules. So we have not only one main survey scheduled for whole employees, but we can also have different questions asked for different teams, for example. So taking all of what I said into consideration, to sum up, I would say that Peakon really can drive employee engagement because also they have their own dashboard to track the responses. They can see reaction to the comments. The questions are adjusted and checked between the runs, as I mentioned. So the responses are not that automatic. And also the fact that they can have discussion with manager and see real actions, it's building the relation and building the trust. And this way, both managers and individual contributors are empowered and start to be more engaged in the company. So as a business benefits, I would mostly say that is minimizing work with maximizing effects of employee feedback and service. It's giving broad overview of company results over the real world context using benchmarking. And then managers and leaders can make real data-driven people and strategy decisions that are based on data and analysis made by Peakon. And it's also building better relation with employees, and thanks to the delivered trainings and planned actions for employees, it's also time and money saving for managers trainings and preparing them for introducing changes. So once after knowing all of that and deciding that Peakon is something that we want to use in our company, how do we prepare for Peakon deployment? In general, Peakon is a standalone product, so therefore it can be implemented separately from Workday or implemented at the same time as Workday. Then it is treated like one work stream, or it can be added to existing Workday that is already deployed. And it is, in general, a project with short timeline, with one instance built and shared responsibility for this instance. Although the average time of implementation is around 12 weeks, including the hypercare after implementation, the most important stage actually happens beforehand, because it's planning and decision making. As you could see, there are, like I told you about just a few features and possibilities within Workday. So there are multiple interesting features that can be used, which can be even a bit overwhelming to what is really needed, to decide what is really needed for the company to create a relevant service and to achieve the goals. So it's also worth mentioning and remembering that using Peakon is dynamic and it can evolve by time. So the first survey, the first deployment is just a start, and then by time it can be optimized. It can be changed according to the current needs. Some features may be added and so on. So it's the best to start with defining business objective and company vision. This is the most important thing here. The main questions is what you really want to achieve with improving employee engagement in the company, and also what does success mean to you and your company? How much participation are you targeting, or how active should managers be in this journey and using Peakon? Of course, it's also worth to decide on the roles on the project and how will if we will include whole company in the Peakon directly, or will we starting with some pilot service, the timelines on going live, and so on. So just having a clear strategy and vision in mind before the deployment provides direction and focus to the project and key design choices. It helps to prioritize and allocate the resources. It supports to create a baseline for for the communication, for the model of the survey that we will be using. In more detailed level, once we have a real vision and the purpose of using Peakon, during deployment, you will decide which industry are you part of for benchmarking purposes, how you want to import employee records, how to set up integrations, what kind of employee data will you need for having it as an attributes, how do you want to set up the schedule, obviously the questions, because you can select questions from the available question sets, as well as you can add like your custom ones or open-ended questions that employee can also answer. Also the security, which means that like what actual information will be presented to managers, leaders, and employees, and also how you want to communicate the survey for employees and also prepare trainings for them, because it's very important for them to understand the purpose of using Peakon. And when it comes to new features, because like we are a bit running out of time, as I said before, Peakon new features and releases are independent from Workday releases. It happens a bit more often. However, every time there is anything new, there is a what's new post in community that is informing about this, all the customers. As an example, I will show the recently released features that are in as of 10th February. So from this week. First of it is, for example, very simple update, which is adding comments on Workday Peakon employee voice for mobile. So previously, the functionality of the comments in the mobile app for managers was not that broad, and now it was updated. Whole comments section is visible, is actionable, so it's easier for managers also to check the comments and answer to them via mobile. This feature is available for everyone, and it's automatic. But due to how the stores for downloading apps are working, the availability of latest version of the Peakon app is gradual. So it can take a few days before users are able to really download the latest version. Another new feature is very interesting and very useful, actually, because it's like curated insights dashboard on Workday Peakon employee voice. Like we understand that not every manager or leader is used to the technology, to going through complicated analysis and dashboards and so on. So there was an additional dashboard created, which is summing up all the categories, all the actions that may be taken from the manager's side, and it's putting it all in one place, which is very easy to go through and to check. This one is automatically available for administrators, but they need to give the access for other managers. And I can show you the demo of this feature, but made by Workday, because like we don't have yet our instance for presentation, but I would need to stop sharing for 1 second because I need to turn on my computer audio, so bear with me.
Sure, Kinga, just being aware of time, let's wrap up after the video.
Okay, obviously, that was the plan, but yeah. Okay.
Now I'm going to flip over to my presentation account. So this is obviously Peakon, as you well know. What you'll see on the launch of this feature is a new button just here, which you can click into to get to the feature that we're talking about. Now, hopefully straight away you can see what we've aimed to do here. We've pulled multiple different data sets from across Peakon into one dashboard. So if you were very starved of time, you can come here and just have a quick look at how things are starting to progress from your latest survey or multiple surveys if you would like. You can do the normal things. You can flip over to your time frame if you would like to. That's quarter, month, or year. you have participation at the top. This is round on round participation. So if you start to see that tracking down, you'll be able to quickly, hopefully, change your communication strategy about this to get that back up. And then you'll have your main question set scores. So your main engagement, D&I, health and wellbeing transformation, and change questions. The one key difference here that you can see is this view chosen priorities button. And hopefully straight away you can see what this is. The chosen priorities exist elsewhere in Peakon, and it allows you to just pin drivers or focus areas priorities to your given dashboard. Let me just quickly show you about how you might want to add another driver to this. I'm just going to click into add more priorities.
Okay, I think we can stop here. I just wanted you to see the future. Now, for the rest of the demo, the presenter is just digging into adding some stuff into the dashboard. So yeah, conscious of time, let's wrap up. So I would just say that hope now after this session you are more interested in the Peakon, and if you want to have like further discussion, there are some people of our HR team. There's Matthew and Emmanuel in the office on site, so feel free to discuss with them if you have any further needs or questions. And from me, that's it. Thank you so much for attending this session.
Thank you very much, Kinga. And as you said, I really encourage anyone who is joining the on-site event, either in Helsinki or in Solna, to reach out to Matthew in Helsinki or Emmanuel in Solna to kind of understand how Tieto is planning to use Peakon ourselves, actually, as a customer. So this is the end of our presentations today. Before we go, just as Mintu mentioned in the morning, I would like to invite you to visit tietoevery.com/digital-hr, where you can find many interesting blog posts. Also, just the recent one related to Peakon, actually. And then you're also welcome to give us more feedback, either session-specific or general via the short survey that you've been using before. And in addition to that, I would like to mention that if you're interested into the Tieto services related to the release management or any other HCM and finance area within Workday, please contact our sales manager, Hannele Koskenmäki, via the email displayed. So thank you for coming. We're looking forward to seeing some of you tomorrow, and special greetings to the on-site events. So have a great afternoon. Bye-bye.